Here in Arizona, the average rent for a family of four is $1,850 a month. The problem is the average take-home pay is about $5,200 a month. That means 36% of that family's take-home income goes to rent. When you factor in car payment and gas and groceries and all those other things, healthcare, it is unaffordable.
They told you the American dream was a fixed-rate mortgage and a white picket fence in the East Valley. They lied. Right now, thousands of Arizona families are sitting at their kitchen tables, staring at a mathematical impossibility that is about to swallow their future whole. It's a quiet, suffocating panic. You feel it every time the first of the month rolls around, don't you? That tightening in your chest when you realize your paycheck is a ghost before it even hits your account. Senator Mark Kelly just went on the record with a warning that should have sent a physical shiver down the spine of every homeowner from Flagstaff to Tucson. He didn't use the word crisis. He used a word that implies there is no coming back. A breaking point. But here is the part they aren't showing you on the nightly news. While the luxury high-rises continue to scrape the Phoenix skyline, the ground beneath them is cracking. We are currently witnessing a historic, systemic decoupling of reality from survival. The numbers are screaming, yet the silence from the institutions that's supposed to protect us is deafening. You've noticed the for sale signs staying up a little longer, haven't you? You've seen the neighbors packing boxes in the middle of the night. There is a specific, brutal reason why the $450,000 median price tag in Phoenix is actually a countdown clock to a statewide economic cardiac arrest, a reality that only stays hidden when people stop following how housing, debt, and policy pressures converge by staying subscribed. The numbers coming out of the Maricopa County Assessor's Office aren't just statistics. They are the autopsy report of a middle class being buried alive. We've entered a psychological dead zone where the math simply stops making sense. If you earn the average Phoenix salary of $67,500, you are essentially playing a game of Russian roulette with 5 chambers loaded. Think about that number, $67,500. After taxes, healthcare, and the skyrocketing cost of just existing in the desert heat, you're looking at a take-home pay that barely covers a studio apartment in a neighborhood you used to avoid. Yet the median home price is sitting at $450,000. Do you see the void? That is a gap so wide it's no longer a hurdle. It's a canyon. And Senator Kelly's breaking point is the moment the bridge finally snaps. There is a term in economics that most people ignore until it's too late. House burdened. It sounds clinical, almost polite. But the reality is a nightmare. When more than a third of our population is handing over 30%, 40%, or even 50% of their gross income just to keep a roof over their head, they aren't living in Arizona. They are guarding a pile of bricks. They are one flat tire, one dental emergency, or one minor corporate restructure away from total insolvency. Imagine the fragility of that system. We are operating on a zero margin of error economy. It's like driving a car at 100 miles per hour with no brakes and hoping the road never ends. But the road is ending. The 30% rule wasn't a suggestion. It was a safety rail. Now that we've smashed through it, we are in free fall. Why hasn't the market crashed yet? That's the question that keeps you up at 2 a.m., isn't it? If nobody can afford these homes, why are the prices staying so high? It feels like a glitch in the matrix. You walk through these suburban developments and see the manicured lawns and the SUVs in the driveways, and you think, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one struggling. That is the great Arizona illusion. Behind those stucco walls, the credit card debt is exploding at a rate we haven't seen since 2007. People are cannibalizing their 401s just to pay the property taxes. They are choosing between groceries and the HOA fee. It is a statewide exercise in faking it. But the bill is coming due. The pressure is building behind a dam that was never designed to hold this much weight. What happens when the first crack appears? Most people assume a housing crash looks like a sudden explosion. It doesn't. It looks like a slow, agonizing realization. It starts with Forced sales. Not because people want to move, but because the math has finally defeated them. They are being squeezed by a pincer movement of stagnant wages and predatory valuations. And here is the most uncomfortable truth of all. The institutions know. The lenders know. The big tech conglomerates moving into the valley know. They are watching the same breaking point data that Kelly is. But while you're looking for a way to save your home, they are looking for a way to buy it for pennies on the dollar when you inevitably trip. They are waiting for the wave. You can feel the air getting thinner, can't you? The cost of electricity, the cost of water, the cost of simply standing still in this state has become a luxury. We are living in a powder keg of financial cushion zero. In a normal economy, a recession is a rainy day. In the current Arizona housing market, a recession is a Category 5 hurricane hitting a house made of cards. We have reached the point where the average resident is a guest in their own city, paying rent to a future they will never own. The tension is visible in the eyes of every cashier, every teacher, and every nurse you meet. It's the look of someone who has realized the game is rigged, but they've already placed their life savings on the table. You're waiting for the answer. You're waiting for someone to tell you that there is a secret policy, a hidden surplus, or a market correction that will make $67,500 suddenly compatible with a $500,000 mortgage. You want to believe that the breaking point is just a political talking point and not a physical reality that is about to restructure the entire Southwest. But as the foreclosures begin to creep up in the periphery, and as the forced sale signs start appearing in the neighborhoods that were supposed to be safe, the mask is slipping. The math is cold, it is heartless, and it doesn't care about your white picket fence. Are you prepared for what happens when the breaking point isn't a warning anymore, but an event? The reason the floor hasn't fallen out yet isn't because the economy is strong. It's because the breaking point is being artificially held together by a thin layer of desperation. But that layer is tearing. The answer you've been looking for, the reason why prices remain high while your bank account stays empty, is the arrival of the institutional squatter. While you were struggling to save for a down payment, hedge funds and massive corporate entities were quietly buying up the inventory, turning Arizona into a rentership society. They aren't buying homes to live in. They are buying them to hold as collateral, a strategy that only works while people stop following how leverage and debt are quietly stacked against them by staying subscribed. They are betting on your inability to keep up. This is the forced sale trigger. When the next minor economic tremor hits, a 1% rise in unemployment or a shift in the tech sector, the families living with zero financial cushion won't just tighten their belts. They will be forced to liquidate. And who is standing there, ready to catch the keys? The same entities that drove the prices up in the first place. This isn't a market cycle. It's a harvest. Senator Kelly's warning is the final flare in the sky. The gap between that $67,500 salary and the $450,000 home isn't going to close through a soft landing. It closes when the debt becomes unserviceable, and the breaking point becomes a total reset of who owns the land beneath your feet. We are standing on the edge of a new Arizona, where the dream of ownership is being replaced by the reality of permanent subscription. The math has finally caught up to the mirage. But there is a final, darker layer to this mechanism that most people are too terrified to acknowledge. It's the velocity of displacement. In previous cycles, when a market hit a breaking point, there was a grace period, a time for families to negotiate, to pivot, or to find a lifeline. But in 2026, the algorithm has replaced the human element. The moment that 30% rule is violated and the financial cushion hits zero, the system doesn't see a family in crisis. It sees an underperforming asset. The forced sales we are anticipating aren't just transactions. They are the systematic extraction of the local population to make room for a globalized rental class. This is why the discomfort you feel isn't just inflation anxiety, It's your survival instinct screaming that the environment is no longer designed for you to inhabit it. The math isn't broken. It's working exactly as intended to move you out and move the capital in. The number that should terrify you is 65. In 2015, the average Arizonan worked 35 hours a month to cover their mortgage. Today, in 2026, that number has spiked to 65 hours. You are now working nearly 2 full work weeks every month just to keep your front door locked. While you're told the market is leveling off, the reality is that institutional investors now control 36% of the single-family inventory in the valley. You aren't bidding against families, you're bidding against algorithms. Senator Kelly's breaking point isn't a warning for the future. It's a description of right now. The $450,000 median price isn't a valuation. It's a barrier to entry designed to turn you from an owner into a permanent tenant. The Arizona you knew is changing faster than the headlines can keep up with. If you want to see the cracks before the walls come down, you need to stay ahead of the data. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We are tracking the breaking point in real time, documenting the shift from the Great Illusion to the Great Reset. Don't be the last one to realize the floor is gone. The countdown has already started. The only question is, where will you be standing when the clock hits 0?